My name is Marilee Smith. I'm the skilled trades teacher at the Caddo Career and Technology Center, and this is my third year teaching here. In my shop class, we teach all grades in high school, 9th through 12th, and we teach them a variety of skills. So today we are focusing on how to do stringer beads and weaving passes, as well as making dots for the stick welding. The basics that they learned previously to this lesson were PPE, so personal protective equipment, what they have to wear head to toe to protect themselves in the welding booth, as well as keeping their distance to their workpiece. So they have 1/4 inch stick out for their MIG welders and about 1/4 inch from their electrodes when they do stick welding. How fast they're going, their travel speed, travel angle, their work angle, and making sure that they are fully paying attention in the work booth and not listening to anything that's distracting. One of the big things that I've noticed with my students is sometimes they don't always have the proper protective equipment, personal protective equipment for what we do in our class. So one of my main goals is to make sure that each student has the necessary footwear, whether it's boots or closed-toed shoes in general, and if they have a jacket that they need for welding, if they don't have something they could bring from home, then I make sure to have that available and provide that for them in my shop, because I don't want them to be left out. I am a female shop teacher, and that's a pretty big deal. There's not a whole lot of female shop teachers currently in the industry, and it brings a new aspect to being able to choose what I want to do for a living. And people that are, welders and electricians and plumbers, they're not always going to be male dominated, but it's good to know that that option is there for anybody, male, female, all parts of life and all abilities. And I mean, we have students that have never touched a screwdriver before, and they learn those basic hand skills or hand tool skills to feel confident and feel like they can actually make something with their hands, and they wouldn't normally do that in a core class. Our curriculum is based off introductory welding, so we start off with the AWS, American Welding Society, Introduction to Welding, and as well as the Agricultural Mechanics Applications and Fundamentals textbook, and we pair that with a lot of industry-specific, what the people that are hiring these welders are looking for right out of high school. Any specific questions for me? Please wait till the end. I will be happy to repeat myself, but I'm splitting you guys up. So Boudreaux's, that's the welding room, that's 3 doors down. Not to be confused with the van. You guys know the van? Okay. And then I have Hunter, Lexi, Marcus, and Austin with me. So when you go to Boudreaux's, you're going to be laying dots this time. So not just beads, you're not doing just lines. I want you to focus on striking an arc, and then disconnecting and striking an arc and disconnecting. So what that looks like are basically little buttons, dots, circles, whatever you want to call them. But you're going to scratch or tap and hold it for about 2 seconds, keeping in mind this electrode is consuming the entire time it's connected with that arc. So if you were to hold it above the same spot and just hover, you're going to lose that arc because it's going to get more and more, like you're going to lose the connection. It's going to consume more of the electrode, okay? So dots, just a bunch of dots. When we get back from break, I will actually give you a tested assignment, and you're going to have to give me 3 dots in a row without it sticking. So without this electrode sticking to the plate and having to rip it off. So you'll strike, dot, pull up, strike, dot, pull up, strike, dot, pull up, okay? So 3 dots is all I'm asking for. That's going to be your assignment. Today, do as many dots as you can because you're practicing. For everybody that's here, instead of doing stringer beads, which is what we've done in the past, you just follow your straight line, I'm asking that you do weaves. These are also called crescents. So you just make the letter C. And if you want to make a line for your midsection, you can go top, bottom, and I'm exaggerating a little bit. When you're doing this, you're going to do it at a lot smaller your C is backwards. So you're going to do crescents that way. You guys see the difference? So if you're left-handed, you start at the right, work your way to the left. If you're right-handed, start at the left, work your way to the right. So questions about what you're doing here? Okay. Remember, what can you control? Your body, when you're on the machine, there's 4 things you can control. Yes, there's 2 angles. What type of angles?
The welding angle and the
I heard a 90. What is 90? Is that your work or your travel?
I think it's just travel.
that's the angle you're holding.
Well, yeah, so you do hold it at both of them. So you're 90, you're straight up and down. That's your work angle. And then when you're traveling, you tilt it to the direction of your travel. So that's your travel angle. So we got our 2 angles. There's 2 more things that you as a person are in control of in that machine. What are you in control?
Speed.
What type of speed?
Oh, your travel speed.
Your travel speed. So how fast you're pulling that gun or how fast you're moving this electrode. You can control that. You can't control wire speed because that's the machine itself. So you guys already set it to your knob. It's going to be 3.5 or 4.5 depending on which machine you use. But you can control how fast you move the gun or move the electrode. And your last thing,
How far away from your work?
yes, how far away you are from your workpiece. Your distance to your workpiece. How far away should you be? Quarter inch. Did you guys see my little reminders up there? Yes, so quarter inch. Well, with you, almost. You do need to touch, so Dylan brought up a very good point. If you're needing to touch your electrode to your workpiece to strike the arc, but you don't continue to touch it to your workpiece because that's what makes it stick. You have to hover about 1/4 inch. So the same thing with our stick out for our MIG welders. You hover that 1/4 inch. You keep your MIG gun pointed that 1/4 inch away. Your electrodes, you want to maintain an arc length, that bright light, about 1/4 inch, or even a smidge less. If you get bigger than that, you're going to see splatter, and you won't have a nice, pretty, straight weld. So you're going to have pockets. Your fusion is going to be imperfect fusion and penetration. So this, I don't know if we talked about what this is made out of, but you have a solid metal rod on the inside. So a solid piece of metal on the inside, and it's coated with flux on the outside. So the inside is what's going to lay the metal down onto your workpiece, and that's what's going to create that arc flash, and the outside protects your arc. So we will use this next door, and we're going to use our MIG gun in our classroom. Head to toe, PPE. Make sure you guys check yourselves. If you see somebody missing a welding cap, you say, hey bud, missing a welding cap.
Can I borrow that welding helmet, Miss Smith?
Yes, I have
Do I
a,
have none?
who needed one?
Do I have my welding cap on?
And Grant, I'm gonna switch you out. That one's single shade. You feel like doing single shade? You wanna try to give it a go? That's looking good. Just make sure that you use right here your best to middle, otherwise it's gonna get stuck in that little spot. The overall lessons and objectives for today were met by the students. They were able to properly lay down their beads. They practiced the stringer beads and then weaving, as well as making dots and practicing how to correctly strike an arc, which is one of the harder components of stick welding or shielded metal arc welding. And they were excited and looking forward to the next step in their welding adventure. One thing that I could improve upon from this lesson would be to have a checklist and carry around a clipboard, making sure the students are on track with their progress for the welding unit, such as when they're done completing their stringer beads, their weaving, their dots. I could make sure that I have everyone accounted for and we can move on to the next lesson.